Los Angeles, 1983. A rising creative figure is found brutally murdered inside his own home. No arrest, no conviction, no definitive answer. More than 40 years later, the murder of Peter Ivers remains one of California's most haunting unsolved cases. But what makes this mystery so unsettling isn't simply the violence, it's the possibility that the truth may have been within reach from the very beginning and somehow slipped away forever. So let's begin the reading. The very first thing regarding the reading is the most important clue in a murder investigation isn't the clue that was hidden, but the clue that was accidentally lost before anyone realized its value. The Peter Ivers case feels different from many unsolved murders. Most mysteries revolve around a missing suspect, a missing weapon, a missing witness. This one revolves around something potentially far more devastating, a missing opportunity. As this reading unfolds, one theme emerges almost immediately: familiarity. The cards repeatedly point towards circles of trust, social connections, and people who already occupied the same world. Again and again, the imagery suggests proximity rather than distance. Not necessarily friendship, not necessarily intimacy, but familiarity. The feeling that individuals involved in the broader story were not strangers standing on opposite sides of reality. They shared environments, shared spaces, shared social gravity. Another powerful theme appears around momentum. Several cards suggest events building gradually before reaching a sudden breaking point, not a random lightning strike from nowhere, more like pressure accumulating beneath the surface until something finally gave way. This is important because the reading repeatedly avoids the symbolism of pure chaos. Instead, it suggests tension, unresolved tension, a conflict, disagreement, frustration, or emotional imbalance that may have existed before the final event. As the cards continue, another pattern emerges: the difference between appearance and reality. Publicly, many situations can appear stable, normal, even successful. Yet beneath the vibes, um, yet beneath the visible surface, entirely different emotional landscape may exist. The reading repeatedly suggests hidden layers, things unspoken, things unnoticed, things misunderstood. This symbolism becomes especially interesting when viewed alongside the known history of the investigation. The cards continually point toward disruption occurring after the central event, not simply the crime itself, but confusion surrounding the aftermath, questions, missed connections, information that became fragmented, memories that became less reliable with time. One of the strongest energies in the spread centers around timing. The first hour appears symbolically significant. The reading repeatedly highlights moments immediately following discovery, moments when decisions are made, moments when evidence is interrupted, moments that later become impossible to recreate. Whether symbolic or literal, the cards place enormous weight on the earliest phase of the investigation. Another fascinating element involves the public fascination with this case. The reading suggests people are drawn to Peter Ivers not only because he was murdered. Many unsolved murders eventually fade from public memory. This one did not. The cards indicate that people sense incompleteness, a feeling that the story ended before its final chapter was written, a feeling that something remains unresolved beneath the official narrative. As the reading approaches its conclusion, a recurring theme becomes impossible to ignore: loss. Not merely physical loss, lost possibilities, lost answers, lost clarity. The cards repeatedly suggest that the central tragedy may involve more than a single act of violence. It may also involve the disappearance of certainty itself, and perhaps that is why this case continues to resonate after decades. Because people do not simply wonder who committed the crime. They wonder whether the answer once existed within reach, whether the truth briefly stood in a plain sight, and whether history simply failed to hold onto it long enough. The final card feels reflective rather than accusatory. accusatory. They suggest that mysteries survive not because answers are impossible, but because time slowly erodes the path that once led toward them. And in that sense, the Peter Ivers case remains one of the most haunting mysteries of all. Not because the truth never existed, but because it may have existed long enough to be lost. Thank you for watching.